Yes, guys, welcome back to the Chinwag podcast and to Warren. So today, what we're discussing is the team of the season. So without further ado, let's get straight into the podcast. So for the goalkeeper position, who have you got in net for you?
As much as it pains me to say, I've gone Vicario.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I've gone for Vicario as well. What are your reasons for putting Vicario in net?
I just think his shot stopping's elite. He's really good with the ball at his feet as well. He's been such an upgrade on Lloris. It's difficult to admit it, being a Tottenham player, but I think he's been class.
Yeah, so not many people knew about him because obviously he came from Empoli and not like a big star signing for Spurs, but I think he has done very, very well. He's great on the ball. He can play the ball out. I think he's just behind Ederson in the ball playing department, in my opinion. And I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think he's level with Alisson in that department.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I think Vicario is a very good player, and he definitely deserves his spot in the team of the season. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss the players and then have a final 11 to end off with. So we're going with right back. I have gone team of the season for Kieran Trippier. The reason why I've gone for Kieran Trippier is he's played very well for Newcastle this year at the start of the season. I think he got injured at one point and then they tailed off a little bit after he came back. But he's got 10 assists this season, which I think from fullback is a very good accomplishment. So who have you got at fullback to rival Trippier?
Well, see, for me personally, I want my fullbacks to actually be able to defend.
Okay.
So for me, I've gone with who I think is one of the best 1v1 defenders in the league. I've gone Ben White.
Yeah, I could see that, but in modern day fullbacks, you need them to go forward. I don't think Ben White is as effective going forward as Kieran Trippier.
I would say only in, like, if you take away Trippier's set pieces, which is a big part of his game, I get, but if you take away his open play assists, I don't think Ben White's a million miles away. I think he's a lot better going forwards than people give him credit for.
Yeah, maybe.
And Trippier, there was a run of games where Trippier got rinsed by every single winger he came up against, and I cannot get that out of my head.
Yeah, fair enough. But I got to back Trippier. But as I said, we are deciding a final 11. So your argument is quite strong.
Yeah.
Especially with Trippier being injured as well. Ben White's quite ever present.
He is, yeah.
So
not for England, but
not for England. But that's a different debate altogether. But I'll give in and give you Ben White. So the team is Vicario in goal and Ben White at right back so far. The first centre half position, I have gone one of your boys, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, is William Saliba.
Oh, see now, I've gone the other one. I've gone Gabriel over Saliba. For me, I just think that Saliba's had all the attention, Rolls Royce, all this. But for me, every game I've watched, Gabriel has been the one who has defended so much better. He doesn't look shaky like he did in previous years. He looks like a proper rock. And even games where Saliba's looked a bit shaky, Gabriel's looked good. So for me, he's the better defender this year.
I feel Saliba has to be in there ahead of Gabriel because the way he's on the ball, obviously, as I said about the fullbacks, obviously getting on the ball, he wins everything in the air. Against Bayern Munich, he was okay in a big game. Gabriel should have conceded a penalty. It should actually have been a penalty when he handballed it from Ray's goal kick. But we'll talk about that later. But Saliba in the air, on the feet, 1v1s. I think he's just Gabriel. I feel is a bit clumsy on the ball. But Saliba, you give him the ball in a position on the touchline where Ray will give it to him. He can deal with it. Gabriel is a little bit stuck under his feet sometimes. I think Saliba is just class.
Listen, they're both my boys. They're both the Arsenal centre backs that have built the foundation for our season. So I can concede this one.
Okay, so we'll go with Saliba at centre half. So the other centre back position, I have gone for Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk. And who have you gone for?
Yeah, same. Just world class. Like, think of how many injuries Liverpool have had this year. He's had Quansah playing next to him, Konate, not so much Matip, but everyone's looked pretty assured because they're playing next to one of the best defenders in the world.
They've had a lot of
Simple.
rotation as well. Obviously, Alisson's been injured too. So obviously, that makes a big difference. But I think Van Dijk is still one of the best centre backs in the world. Obviously, in the Premier League as well.
For sure.
And yeah, he thoroughly deserves his spot in the team of the season.
Agreed.
So moving on to left back, I have gone for Spurs player Destiny Udogie.
Yeah.
Who have you gone for?
Yeah, same. I don't think there's a ton of competition there. The only other player which would have been a bit of a rogue one, I was looking potentially at someone like an Anthony Robinson, Fulham. I think he's done quite well this year, but I think Udogie's just different class compared to them.
When Robinson was in his first year in the Prem, I think 2 years ago, I thought he was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
He was rubbish, I'll be honest. But Udogie's coming from his loan. Was he at Torino? I can't remember.
Or something.
Yeah, something like that. So, but yeah, he's come in, replaced like a type of player like Ben Davis, and he just provides so much on the left, going forward, coming back. He's rapid as well. He's just able to cover the ground. So again, the fullback position, I think 100% has to go to Udogie.
Yep, agreed.
So I've chosen a 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that's the best formation to fit in as many players as possible. So going to your first kind of defensive midfielder, who have you gone for?
I've gone Rodri. Again, it pains me to do it with a title rival, but his record speaks for itself. I think he's on the longest unbeaten run in Premier League history in games that he started. So he's so important to probably the best team in the country.
I hate Man City, obviously.
Fair.
So I cannot put myself to put him in the team. Yes, his record speaks for itself, but obviously all the other players around him also make him look great because he gives it short to these players like De Bruyne and Bernardo, and they do all the work for him. Not for him, but further up the pitch. Yes, he's a good holding player, but I've gone Douglas Luiz for Villa because Douglas Luiz has played well this season in a Villa side that shouldn't be fighting up there. Okay, so he controls the game for Villa. They've done so well in Europe as well. They've done well in the Prem. They're 5th or 4th around with Spurs. And Rodri has so many better players around him than Douglas Luiz has. So in my opinion, Douglas Luiz deserves to be in that spot. He hasn't got as many good players around him as Rodri has to make him look better.
I think Douglas Luiz has had a good season? Yes. Can we realistically say that he is deserving of a spot in the team of the season above Rodri? Come on, you're not serious.
all right, fine. I'll admit to defeat for that. So Rodri can be in there. I think there's a Stonewall player got to be in there next. It's Declan Rice, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on Declan Rice as well.
Yeah.
He's coming to West Ham. He's coming from West Ham into a side that bottled the league last season, may I add. He secured the midfield. Oh my God.
We're not getting a response.
Your face. So Arsenal bottled the league last year. Rice has come into the midfield and secured it and shut up shop and created no holes in that midfield. So obviously you're an Arsenal fan. You watch Arsenal all the time, obviously. So give me your opinions on Declan Rice and how he's performed this season.
I think the crazy thing for me is he cost £105 million, and I don't think anyone's mentioned that since September. And I think that tells you everything you need to know, that he was worth the money. If not, I actually think Arsenal have actually got, which is crazy, a good deal out of it, because he will be at the club for hopefully years and years and years, probably a future captain. He's added goals to his game as well, which I know in the last season at West Ham, he was starting to add more and more goals, but he can play in the 8, he can play in the 6. He's elite in both positions, deserves his spot.
So I think West Ham benefited as well because they brought in other players who we'll talk about in later videos. But yeah, Declan Rice is 100% in the team.
Sure.
So moving to the front three, I have gone Anthony Gordon, Cole Palmer, and Phil Foden. Have you got the same as me, or have you gone for something a little
mostly
bit different?
the same? Yeah, mostly the same. I've got Palmer and I've got Foden, but rather than Gordon, which is good season, but crazy that you've not gone someone like, I've gone Salah personally.
Yeah. I have a very good point about Salah. Since he's come back from AFCON, realistically, he's not done much. So that was in January as well. So that's half a season. Anthony Gordon is pulling a Newcastle team that have a massive amount of injuries, and he's suspended now, but was suspended for a game or something, and but he's pulling that team through. And again, I'll go back to the quality kind of thing. Salah has Luis Diaz, he's got McAllister there, he's got Szoboszlai there, Darwin Núñez, if you can let's say as well, kind of Cody Gakpo, Diogo Jota. But Anthony Gordon has Almiron. He's got Callum Wilson, who's always injured, but Isak as well. But obviously Isak's a really good player. But I think Anthony Gordon has just pulled that Newcastle team through certain games this season by himself because they've had so many injuries and have had a worse season. Yes, Liverpool are joint top, but again, the players around Salah, but he's not done much since AFCON. So that's why I feel Gordon, he's performed well the whole season compared to Salah half season.
I think it's difficult for Salah because I think he's a victim of his own success. Because we expect so much from him. He's still ticking along. Getting goals, getting assists. He's not doing what he was before, but considering that he was out for 6 weeks or whatever it was with AFCON, you look at the stats and what he's actually done for Liverpool this year. He's still been so important. Considering he missed 6 weeks, he's still up there in the goal scoring charts. He's still up there as one of the best in the league. So, and Liverpool, don't forget, have had injuries as well. Jota's been injured for a lot of the season. I don't rate Gakpo at all. Núñez misses way more than he scores. So Salah has been the guy for Liverpool this year, and he has, like Gordon, dragged them through games to get them in the position they're at.
But again, Salah has players around him like Jamal Lascelles in defence. Yeah, so these are championship players Gordon is playing with. Salah is playing with Champions League level players. So and Gordon is a Champions League level player himself, in my opinion.
Okay, listen. If you want to put Sue Barker in your team of the season,
Sue Barker.
Ali's going to put a screenshot here now of Sue Barker and Anthony Gordon on the screen. Watch, trust me. So you want to put Sue Barker in your team of the season?
So who are we going for? Obviously, I think Gordon.
It's your channel, it's your call. You can take the backlash from the comments.
Shall we do rock, paper, scissors?
All right, cool.
Ready?
Yeah.
On shoot, yeah?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, cool. Salah it is.
It's going Salah.
Come on, man.
So we both have Palmer and Foden. So I think Cole Palmer has done incredibly well. I think at the start of the season, when he went for like 45 million-ish, something like that, I thought he should have stayed at City and done what Phil Foden did, but he didn't decide to do that. He wanted to be the main man. He was ready now, and Pep was like, no, you're going to be on the bench, start off with, because he scored that screamer in the Community Shield. And I thought, he's that Mario's replacement, ready to go.
Yeah.
But obviously he's left Chelsea and done extremely, extremely well. So what do you think about Cole Palmer?
I think if City had their time again, they'd probably keep him. I mean, they brought in Doku, who everyone thought the world of, and Palmer's absolutely blitzed him. So.
Doku, I think, is just bang average. He's just a bang average winger.
He can do all of the stuff up until the final product, and then it's very, very wasteful. So I think Palmer, I saw a stat or something that he scored the most goals this season that have either equalised or put his team in front.
Right.
And that's a clutch player. That's a big game player. And I think he deserves it. I mean, he's a big breakout season. So, yeah, fair play.
And obviously we've both gone for Phil Foden. And, he's just absolute class.
For me, he, at this moment, is probably my favourite for player of the season.
Oh, fair enough. That's a really good shout, actually. We'll have that discussion in a later video as well. But Phil Foden definitely makes the team. To finish off with, I think I've lost most of these, I'll be honest. And it's somehow my channel and I've lost all of them. I'm going to go Dominic Solanke. You could go for Erling Haaland. Yeah, he scored 30 goals. Great. But on the ball, he's dead. On the ball, he is so clumsy. He's not good on the ball. So there are a few different options. I could have gone Ollie Watkins. I would have gone for Ivan Toney if he didn't obviously be out for the whole season because he's come back so well, but obviously I can't. But I've gone for Dominic Solanke. The first season back in the Prem for Bournemouth when he started playing, he was okay, just getting I think he got 5 or 6 goals. But this season under Iraola, he's performed so well. Bournemouth are 12th, and with the squad Bournemouth have, they really shouldn't be finishing 12th. They should be. I think they should be fighting relegation. But Solanke has scored important goals for them this season. He holds the ball up well for them up there when they want to take pressure off. So I think he's a big player for them. So that's why I've gone for Dominic Solanke.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad shout at all. I have gone Watkins. I've not gone Haaland either. I just think Watkins' all-round game this season, fortunately for England, it does kind of remind me a little bit of Harry Kane in that he can go in behind, he can come short, he's getting goals, assists. He's miles past 30 goal contributions this season, pushing 40 in an Aston Villa team that have some decent players, but he is the centrepiece, I think.
And
as you said earlier, he's one of the big reasons that Villa are pushing for a Champions League spot, which I don't think they have much of a right to have. So, deserves it.
Yeah, I agree with the points you're making, but I just think Dominic Solanke, he should be nowhere near this topic, in my opinion. I can't remember off the top of my head how many goals he's got this season, but he has scored some important goals for them. And for them to be 12th, and with the squad that they have, they really should not be there. So, I don't know, who shall we choose between?
Listen, I think I've taken a few off you in this video, so
I agree.
I think we can give you one. Do I agree? Maybe not, but we can give you Solanke, I think.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yeah, that comes to the end of myself and Warren's team of the season here on Alex in Football. If you did enjoy that podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, I'll see you later for more.